What's the pettiest reason you've ever broken up with somebody? We met on OkCupid, chatted a bit, we seem to have a bunch in common. We went on one dinner date that was okay, but kinda awkward. He said some stuff that could either be red flags or he's a bad, sarcastic flirt, etc. I was on the fence about another date, but when he pouted that I wouldn't kiss him in the parking lot, I decided more on the no side. We didn't talk after that. It happens. I forget about it and went on with my single life. 10 months go by. I get a message on OkCupid from him. I see you're no longer lying about your age. Anything else you want to come clean about? What the hell? Your profile says you're 30 now. Yeah, because time passed and now I'm 30. Before that, it said 29. That's how ages work. Well, I can't entertain dating someone who would lie about something this basic. We're done. Wait, when did we even start? And then he blocks me. I'm sure he felt righteous. This was over 8 years ago, so I have some further bad news for this guy. Story 2. I have so many stories, but I'll only bore you with the main one. Went out with a girl in school, puppy love type of stuff in year 7. Anyway, about 4 months into going out, I kissed her. She broke up with me via text, and it was terrible. I was given the excuse that she thought the relationship was moving too fast. Alright, fair enough, okay then, move on. Anyway, about 2 years later, we started going out again. Yay me. But whenever we hang out, one of her friends is with us and is way too into the idea of us. So I couldn't flirt or compliment or kiss without this little drama queen being all, kiss, kiss, kiss. She eventually breaks up with me via text again, and what's the reason? The relationship is moving too slow. Anyway, because people seem to be enjoying my pain, I shall regale another story. So I was dating this girl at the end of school for a brief period in year 11. Just before the summer starts, she starts telling me I'm moving up north 4 hours away because my father got a new job. So I listen along and accept that a long-term relationship probably wouldn't work between us, so we break up just before the summer. Anyway, those weeks off pass by and then I go back to school and the first person I see, her. I feel super bad that she lied to me and super awkward about it, so I kept my distance from her and basically ignored the situation until it was history. She never tried to speak with me. Fast forward again to prom this time. I'm dancing, grooving, doing the twist with my geography teacher because I'm so freaking cool. At one point in the night, I am sitting outside on this deck chair and she comes over and sits next to me and we begin to chat. Mundane little conversation, but I remember why I liked her and was super happy to sit there. I think about making some sort of move, but don't, and make a mental note to ask her out in the future. Must have been something I said because, lo and behold, she has now actually moved to Canada. Story 3. We were watching Community together, and when Troy and Britta broke things off, I noticed an instant change in him, like his cogs were turning. He immediately and completely withdrew for a few months. I asked if something had happened or if he was feeling different about things, and he just kinda brushed it off and tried to go through the motions while still being very withdrawn. So obviously, we both decided it was best to end things since communication had broken down and we were both feeling pretty weird. I don't know, maybe there was a good reason and I just couldn't work out what triggered him. It definitely seemed like there was something about that episode that made something click out of joint for him rather than anything happening in real life. To my knowledge, we were fine before that. Only been dating a year or so and we're pretty casual and just having fun, then suddenly it wasn't fun anymore. No hard feelings, but without any knowledge of what was going on from his end, it feels to me like a strange way to finish it up. Also, from my end, I broke up with somebody because they started telling stupid little lies about innocuous things. At the time, it was very much the right thing to do since it looks like a bit of a red flag. In retrospect, he was just having a mild manic episode and didn't really have much control over himself at that moment, and had I had enough patience to help him and maybe try to get him back on his meds, we could have had a lovely time together. So that felt like a pretty stupid reason for me to call it off. Again, no hard feelings though, because he did end up finding somebody very patient and lovely. And he seems to be in a much better place with her, and I'm not sure I would be able to deal with the little lies so kindly, as I have my own issues surrounding people not being honest with me. Also, someone broke up with me because he found out that I was 3 months younger than him, meaning that I was born early in the next decade, which meant that I couldn't possibly get him because I wasn't born in the 80s. Pretty sure that was just a cover for something more reasonable, though. At least, I hope. That last one is just plain stupid, a cover or otherwise. Story 4. A jealous ex girlfriend lied and told my girlfriend at the time that I was cheating on her with her. So the night before Valentine's Day, my girlfriend suddenly barges into my house, finds me, and starts screaming at me and pushing me, told me it was over. I was so freaking confused, and yeah, I cried. It's safe to say that that was the Valentine's Day of my entire life. I even got her one of those stupid giant teddy bears and a box of chocolates. I ended up giving them to her anyway. The kicker was that suddenly my ex girlfriend got in touch with me and heard about the story and started to try and get close to me while I was vulnerable. She offered to buy me food and take me places to take my mind off of it. This was an ex that I thought was my friend. I didn't learn that this was the reason why we broke up until years later when I talked to her in college. I was so pissed, but honestly, I probably dodged a bullet because both of them were crazy. Story 5. I had just moved to a new city after college and got an amazing job, this year by the way. After working there for 2 weeks, I met a girl while having lunch in the garden of an office adjacent to the one I worked in. I met genuinely the most interesting girl of my life. I'm from Texas, 22, and had just left college to move up to the city. She, 20, had already graduated from Purdue, had an amazing job in this city, which she moved across the country for and had only been in town for 3 days. She excitedly told me she was hoping to meet new people around her work as she knew no one in the entire state basically, and wanted to make some new friends. And we kicked it off great. Her new apartment had nothing in it yet, just a bed in her room, no TVs, couches, anything really. Just her bed in one room. She was waiting to start getting paid before buying furniture. Super smart girl, she did so much that she fascinated me. Anyways, we went on a couple of dates. I even brought a TV over to her place for us to watch movies at night. And we did this all for about 2 weeks. Every day we were exploring the new city together, going out to different places to eat and have drinks, etc. Then, about 3 weeks after we initially met, her new roommate, a girl she would be working with, was moving in. And that's the last day we ever did anything. After her roommate moved in, she said we were spending too much time together, which I agreed, and gave her examples of me trying to give her space to herself, to which she would always decline and say she wanted someone to spend time with and really liked me. Had mutual intercourse a number of times, had great talks, and basically shared together our arrival to a big new city. Just weird how people can do that. She never gave me an explanation. I never pressed for one, just kinda shrugged it off as it was only 3 weeks long. But man, was she great. Incredibly smart, could build anything with her hands, even built her own bed frame. Grew up on a chicken farm in North Ohio and was an avid yoga enthusiast who worked out daily. Disappointed I lost someone to me who was so interesting. Also, a weird thing with this short relationship is that she called her family and told them about me. Her father wanted to meet me on his next visit, and even her aunt and uncle told her to bring me up to their farm just to stay away to meet them in the coming months. Never have I been so confused in my life by that abrupt ending. Also, I dated a girl for one day. She broke up with me because, in her words, I was immortal. I'm pretty certain she was going for immoral, but hey, you take what you can get. Story 6. Not exactly a breakup. Read on to see why. Some background. Was a Christian, past tense, at a fairly conservative college. Girl and I have been getting to know each other in group settings. I think she's cute, so we keep in touch, but will only hang out with me in group settings. This obviously drags out the process, and on top of that, she is the type that wants to be courted, so things are at a standstill. I ran into the cafeteria one morning after a schedule change and walked up to her table to say hello, then asked if I could join. She kindly said she was having devotional time with God. No problem. Flash forward a week and same thing. See her at a table, reading her Bible. I swing over that way just to say good morning. And when I did, she looked up and just said, Jesus time, rather lackadaisical but also somewhat condescendingly. I was over it at that moment. So a month goes by and we're still seeing each other incidentally with this group of friends, but I'm paying her very minimal attention. We've not established anything at this point, so I don't feel the need to acknowledge the fact that I'm moving on. Meanwhile, I get a crush on another girl who recently joined the crew from Girl 1's dorm. Girl 1 catches on, asks if I like Girl 2, and I say yes. 2 weeks later, Girl 1 texts me in a huff and asks if we can talk. We meet somewhere semi-private and sit down where she tells me that she doesn't feel like God isn't taking our lives in the same direction. In my head, mildly screaming, but also, one, how dare you freaking use God as a cop-out? Just own up to your crap. And two, we weren't freaking dating because even if Jesus himself asked you out, you'd say he isn't Christ-like enough. So, reality, yeah, I totally agree. If you're enjoying the video so far and you're not too down the deep end as that one girl, please don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Now let's get back to the video. Story 7. I did too much stuff around the house like dishes and cooking. She broke up with me and said, I want a man who does manly things, not a woman who cooks and cleans. I know, right? How dare I cook healthy stuff for her kids a few nights a week, because otherwise she'd pump them full of McDonald's. A few weeks later, her car broke down and she called me because she knew I could fix it. I laughed hysterically at the irony of it, told her, sorry love, I'm just too busy baking cakes and painting my nails over here. Moral of the story is chores don't have gender association. What needs to be done just needs to be done, and you're no less manly because dishes and cooking need to be done more frequently than the car needs service. Another breakup story I have, we had dated in high school, then 13 years go by and we reconnected. Moved to a different state, had a dog, decided that we wanted to travel, so purchased an RV. I got rid of all my stuff, bedroom furniture, washer and dryer, more furniture. About 4 months of living there and I have a seizure, was told I couldn't drive for 3 months. I was able to work from home a couple of days a week so she didn't have to drive so much, but that didn't help. About 2 weeks after my seizure, she told me she didn't want to take care of or be responsible for anyone. This is why she didn't want to have kids. I was floored and 17 hours from any type of family. Took me a little bit, but I got back on my feet and everything I own will fit in my car, so traveling and moving is easier. LOL, silver lining, I guess. Story 8. Here's a few. First, in high school, she broke up with me because she saw me kiss another girl on the cheek. It was my mom's cheek I kissed. Second, had a girl break up with me for, it's been 53 hours since you said I love you, so clearly you are trying to be distant, so I break up with you first, so you win. I was relieved after the initial shock. She was apparently batty and I never knew. Third, a girl once broke up with me because we were going to different schools next year and, in her words, we would never find the opportunity to see each other. We lived on the same street, literally like 30 seconds away from one another. Fourth, she broke up with me for something I did in her dream. And fifth, she met someone that she immediately saw herself marrying. A month after we broke up, she moved across the country, got married, called me to tell me she made a mistake, got divorced, moved back home, got pregnant, and then got married again. Her current age? 22. That last one? Actually, all of them? All bullets dodged. Story 9. Me and my girlfriend of 6 years just broke up yesterday. She said that most of the time I feel like I'm her best friend in the world, that she loves me more than anything, and that she wants to be with me. And other times when she is with me, she feels like she is trapped in a foreign country, lost and unable to get home. Now, I'm not perfect, but that was harsh to hear. I'm not controlling nor cruel, neither is she. We have all the space either of us could want or need, and when we are together, we just click. But her telling me that made me realize that all these years, she was never truly committed to me and us. She's been there for me through a lot of hardships and fun times, but she was never truly dedicated to me. It always felt like she kept me at arm's length even if she didn't mean to or notice. I always had a feeling that when things got tough, she would turn and look for a way out instead of trying to fix things. There's plenty more I could say. I just hope for her sake she finds her peace and happiness. I miss her so much. I wanted her to be the one, but sometimes it just isn't meant to be, I guess. I'm hurting pretty bad, but she's been distancing herself for some time. It was inevitable, and I had to end it, as hard as it was. Sunday afternoon, she said she wanted to break up. Sunday night, she said that was a huge mistake and she's sorry and wants to be together again. Monday afternoon, she was second-guessing herself again. It hurt so much to be tossed around like that. I told her to go, and it was the hardest thing I've ever done. I really needed to get that off my chest. It's not a stupid reason, but it's a reason and a complicated one at that. Story 10. We stopped at an In-N-Out to grab a bite. Towards the end of the meal, I got up to go use the bathroom. When I came back, he'd thrown away my remaining French fries. That was a breaking point. In his defense, he asked if I was done, and I said yeah. I didn't realize he was just going to throw out perfectly good fries, animal fries that are well done at that. The real genesis of my annoyance was that he'd just leave trash out when he came over, like empty cigarette cartons. I'd asked him to please stop doing that and pick up after himself, but it never took. So when he tossed out the fries, I was all, okay, so you can throw out French fries, but not your trash? People do not need that kind of negativity in their lives, Not petty at all. Story 11. My ex-father-in-law tells people I divorced his son over a plate of chicken. This is not true. I divorced him because he was horrible. However, the night that I finally completely lost my marbles and made him leave, I'd been asking politely for about a year, was a straw that broke the camel's back kind of thing. I'd baked several chicken breasts, planning to pull the chicken off the bone and use it for chicken and rice. I got called away from the task before I could make the rice, so I left the chicken in the oven and was planning on finishing the meal when I got home. The jerk ate all 4 chicken breasts down to the bone because he was hungry. There wasn't even a scrap of chicken left. That chicken was supposed to be our children's dinner. He ate his own son's dinner and didn't save the boys, ages 3 and 1 at the time, a single bite. I lost it. Completely and totally lost it. He wasn't staying in that house 1 minute longer even if I had to carry his 300-pound ass out the door. And that, my friends, is how you get divorced over a plate of chicken. Another story, my brother, who was a bit of an idiot anyways, broke up with the girl because she had dentures and didn't tell him. She had been in an accident and had all her teeth knocked out. He tried to paint it as her being dishonest, but I called BS. She let him put it in and he was ready to move on to the next one. Story 12. If sending each other text messages becomes a job, even if you can't go a day without texting each other, and if you both are texting for the sake of texting, then that is a doomed relationship, and I was thrilled when she broke up. I pretended to be sad about it, but in reality, I was freaking dancing on the table kinda happy because texting each other all the time is freaking exhausting. I've noticed that this is a common tendency among women. They think the number of text messages somehow relates to how well it is going or how much they are loved. It is really messed up. So, if you are hearing this, first, a number of text messages has zero correlation to how much a guy or a girl cares about you. The only red flag is if you are always the one initiating conversation. Second, if you feel insecure or not loved because you are not getting enough text messages, despite getting like 5 or 10 a day or so, maybe take the hint that constantly sending text messages the whole frickin' day may be exhausting for the other person. Third, send text when you have something to say. Don't send text just to say something. If sending text is a habit, you have a frickin' problem, not the other person. There is nothing wrong with texting or calling, but let it be natural and do it when you feel like it, not just to do it. And finally, fourth, spending time in real life is the only spending time together currency that should matter. Texting does not count as spending time together. Having to text a person constantly throughout a day is frustrating and exhausting. I can't speak for others, but for me personally, this is the number one thing girls do to push me away. Another one, my first ex and I were long distance, and it had always been long distance. I was at college when we started dating. No, this relationship lasted all of 2 to 3 weeks. We would have these long 3 to 5 hour phone calls while we were doing homework, gaming, or she was watching hockey. They usually ended with a joke like, "Oh, you want kids? I don't think this is going to work out." And then we say our love yous and hang up. The last call we had ended in, "You like dogs better than cats? This isn't working out," with a lack of "I love yous." About 10 minutes later, I'm looking around on Facebook and my buddy messages me saying, "Dude, what happened?" And I'm like, "What?" He tells me my relationship status is single. I'm like, "Hold up." So I call up my ex and I'm like, "Wait, did you break up with me for reals on our last call?" And she's like, "Yeah." Well, if you like these stories or one of them struck a nerve in you, here's more. YouTube thinks you're going to love this. I'll catch you in that video, and thanks for hanging out with me for as long as some of these relationships in this one.